Andrew Strickler is a 45-year-old Navy commander living in Washington, D.C. with his wife, Abby. He was born in Framingham, Massachusetts in 1974 to his parents, James and Kathy Strickler. Before enlisting into the Navy, he attended college at New York Maritime College in the Bronx, New York. Due to not participating in ROTC, he had to complete Officer Candidate School, a 3-month boot camp. After finishing his basic training, he enlisted in flight school at NAS Corpus Christi and NAS Whiting Field to become a naval aviator.
There's so much activity going on. There's just these planes and helicopters everywhere. And
recalled Navy Commander Strickler when asked about his instruction at flight school. He would describe his learning experience as not only neat, but also the hardest task he would accomplish in his entire life.
It was flight school. It was harder than college. At times I didn't even know if I was going to make it through flight school. It was that hard.
Flight school required a lot of memorization and multitasking while in the air. However, Commander Strickler made it through flight school with his pilot license. Despite all the difficulties and challenges he faced, he has since flown many helicopters for the Navy. He described his first time ever flying as an overwhelming experience that makes it hard to even realize when airborne occurs. This feeling is known as chasing the plane, when situational awareness is behind the plane. Luckily for everyone's safety, it eventually catches up and the pilot realizes their actions. This is where all the flight training and muscle memorization is extremely important.
After finishing training in flight school, Commander Strickler deployed to many different locations worldwide. His first year after flight school had landed him in Guam, an island fought for during World War II. In fact, he recalled being in Guam when 9/11 occurred.
Being Guam, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when the attacks were going off. So I actually got woken up for when that happened. And so that is when war started. I was in Guam.
From Guam, he then left for the Philippines before rotating back to the United States to live in San Diego. After completing his short tour there, he was then deployed on the USS Tuar and then again in 2011 on USS Mount Whitney during Operation Odyssey Dawn, and then for the last time in 2015 on the USS Theodore Roosevelt.
With each new deployment, Commander Strickler adapted to the new jobs he was assigned as he went along. For a while, he put his flight school training to use and was a search and rescue pilot to support ships. If supplies needed to be moved, he was the go-to guy. However, after moving to land, Strickler now works for the Chief of Naval Operations as a battle watch competence.
When I'm on watch, I spend my time paying attention to different reports that come in from the Navy and the different fleets, different types of reports and all kinds of different information coming into us.
Reported Mr. Strickler. He also will spend time watching the news to be up to date on what is happening in the world outside of U.S. borders.
We're his eyes and ears in the world so that he can do what he does without having to pay attention to everything going on.
Even though Mr. Strickler has spent a fair number of hours both at sea and on land, he prefers to be out to sea if he had the choice. Usually when people are on naval ships, they develop what they refer to as sea legs. Most people do not have this at first and will feel ill. However, Commander Strickler never recalled having this problem because he always felt at home at sea. A lot of the rooms would bunk 3 beds high. There was not much privacy for those on naval ships, as he recalled, and it was difficult to communicate with family. At first it was letter, and it would take forever, but soon email came along. Then people could talk to loved ones all the time, with the only problem being everyone shared the same email. Nothing was private, no messages or pictures. Nowadays, this has changed, but when Mr. Strickler was first starting out, everything was out there for the world to see while living on a Navy ship.
Of course, just like everyone else enlisting into the Navy, Commander Strickler did not initially start off with such a high rank, for he had to work his way up to it.
There's always another qualification to work towards. And
Mr. Strickler said, although earlier he claimed flight school was the hardest thing he had ever had to go through, the tasks he was assigned still became harder the higher up the rank he climbed. The task became more complicated, not because of what he was asked, but because the higher he rose, the more unclear the task would become. In the beginning, everyone completed tasks they were capable of people with little military knowledge. The more Strickler came to know, the more his task required him to use background information to create better solutions. The answer was not always in black and white anymore. That being said, he still climbed the ladder to become a well-respected commander.
Commander Strickler never really witnessed any major combat. He was never on the front lines, part of which had involved his being on a Navy ship when most combat happened on land. That being said, during Operation Odyssey Dawn in Libya during 2011, he did come close. At this time, Libyan rebels began to retreat after weeks of success, and at the time, no one knew what to do. So Commander Strickler was on a ship with a bunch of others just watching it happen until orders were given.
So what we knew was going to happen was that the regime forces were going to roll up to Benghazi and just, it was going to be a massacre. And unless we did something, we're just going to watch the thing on TV, basically.
Is what he recalls from that time. Fortunately, we did decide to intervene and stop the hundreds to thousands that would have been killed if we had otherwise not gotten involved.
As for a couple of Commander Strickler's favorite memories from the Navy, he had a hard time deciding. After deep thought, he came to the conclusion that bringing Santa to his squadron's Christmas party in a helicopter would have to be his favorite, especially since his family was able to be there by his side. Other than this, he also vividly remembered being able to fly down into a volcano while deploying in Guam. However, nothing would compare to his coming home from deployment and looking up to see his family being there to greet him with love. While all these memories will last a lifetime, he also learned a valuable lesson in the Navy. He learned the very valuable lesson that everyone is replaceable. The Navy never stops running because people are having a bad day or because an attack happens on U.S. soil. No matter how many lives are lost, he learned that the Navy will continue. Therefore, he had to grow strong enough to deal with the reality.
After all the years of working with the Navy, Commander Strickler received many medals for his bravery and leadership. However, when asked which he was most proud of, it was without hesitation the Air Medal. He was awarded this medal while up in a helicopter. The engines failed to work. He had only a couple options, the easiest being to land in the water. However, he did not particularly favor that option. The ship below him had been filled with bombs, preventing his safe landing. Therefore, he had to trade altitude for speed. By doing this, he was able to scrape away a close landing, earning him the Air Medal.
Although Commander Strickler has one tour left and is still serving, he has said that he feels accomplished and would not have to continue in the Navy any further.
It's been a great career for me. Obviously, I've stayed in for 22 years. I guess
was Commander Strickler's response. Just like anything, Commander Strickler would not give up his experience in the Navy for anything. He has learned so much from the Navy and he is not done yet. He said on multiple occasions that just like anything else, you never stop learning, and that is why he loves the Navy.
No, you never do. Never do. Not when you're as an aviator, for sure.